Okie dokie. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, January 13th, 2025. Let's go ahead and jump back and take a look at what happened here on Friday of last week. As you can see right now, some beautiful pullbacks right off VWAP right now with the big bearish divergence on the double top and getting our pullback, right? It's pretty sweet. And a great opportunity to get long here off the roadmap level with that big bullish divergence just about an hour or two ago. Again, very limited risk there for that bounce. Let's go ahead and jump back to Friday and see what happened. There were a lot of really good opportunities. If you remember, we were saying that if the bulls could not get back through 50% of last week, we were expecting the market to sell off to retest the previous weekly lows, which were down, I want to say, around 58.40. So let's look at some of the details here. I did highlight some of the rotations that worked out really nice for some trades. Now, right out of the open, I mean, if you nailed the short off VWAP out of the open right here, it was a bearish divergence as we tested it. So almost to the second, if you got short out of the open there, you captured the whole sell-off with quite literally zero risk, not even a single tick, and you should have been able to get 59.20, 58.50, 70 points to the downside. No risk, 70 points, right? And we see this all over the place in terms of our risk parameters. Now, as it sold off out of the open, we come down right into the first major scaffolding level, and that is where we find our first support for the first bounce of the morning. I mean, there was a bounce first here, but the first notable bounce off a level right off our roadmap level. Again, held it for some scalps, peeked through it, and then went up for the kiss, right? As it sold off from there, this right here, my friends, was a beautiful opportunity to jump in short. Just imagine you're watching this market sell off within the first half hour of the open, and then you see it coming right back up to tag the back end of the 200, and you notice the divergence as it's pushing up into it. Great opportunity to get short, get filled to the tick, and then ride the rest of the market down, no risk, right? On the way down here, we then come right into the next major scaffolding where we get a nice bullish divergence and a bounce. Another great opportunity to play the counter side. The only issue is it didn't go anywhere. So you got 74 to 79 for about 5 points. Then it rolled over, kissed the back end of the level, continued to sell off. If you missed out on the short off the 200, you then got a great opportunity off the fast moving average, big bearish divergence, continuing to sell off, coming up to the FMA. Great low risk opportunity. Now, whether you got filled or not, I don't know. It missed it by a tick. And then we came down through the next roadmap level only to use it as a nice resistance with bearish divergence for the continuation to the downside. And there were some scalps off the FMA the way down. And then, what do you know? We get this big bounce, and it's nearly to the tick off the next roadmap level. So we get a nice push through it just by a couple ticks, bullish divergence, and then the change in phase for the bounce. Now, I'm willing to bet there's probably also a nice 3-minute bullish signal as we were testing that level. And then there you have it. You get this beautiful attempt by the bulls to rip things higher. And the whole way up, you use the fast moving average. You should have been got in once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, added into a big, huge position and made a whole lot of money on the whole way up. Now, I do like this trade here as we're getting our first clues that we're potentially going to change in phase here. We break the last major swing high right there. We get through the 200. Notice they come to the 200 and pull back. There was a trade there right to the FMA to the tick. But we get through, pull back, and then right there, big bullish divergence as they test the FMA and the 200, and then we get the continuation. And then again, on the whole way up, FMA is your best friend, bunch of bullish divergences the whole way up. Pull back to the tick off the roadmap level there. Not necessarily a major divergence, but again, a to the tick rotation off our level for over a 5-point pullback right to the FMA where you should take profit. And then as they continue going, we get the pullback. Again, it holds the roadmap level, but then comes back through, holds it to the back end, and comes right to the 200 for, again, a nearly picture-perfect opportunity with the double bottom off the 200 bullish divergence. We get the pop right to our next roadmap level where we get a peak above and fail with a bearish divergence, which then leads to the pullback. So on the pullback here, again, notice, gets through the roadmap level, comes right back to it and kisses it for a double top for the continuation lower. And then this right here, my friends, is another picture perfect setup. The only issue is it didn't come into the 200, it missed it by a tick. So you had pretty decent opportunity there if you were able to get filled just in front of the level. And then we get the FMA, right? Just starts holding the FMA the whole way down, only to come right back up and kiss the 200 once again with a double top. So if you didn't take it off the first test where we did have a bearish divergence, it came right back to it, tested that high, gave it a kiss, and got a bearish divergence for the continuation. So you had opportunity to jump in as we failed off of the 200 again, no risk, and then came all the way down. And then what's so awesome is I gave you guys this level here and told you that this was a major swing that most likely would lead to a bounce. And we eventually get there, but we come up, there's another bearish divergence off the roadmap level in a bearish trend. And again, maybe a couple ticks of risk, maybe no more than 1 point, and you get the whole push down to that level I just mentioned at around 46 here, 75, for the low of the day. So we nail the high of the day right out of the open off a textbook roadmap level. And then we come down and the low of the day is nearly to the tick off that major swing I warned you guys was most likely going to be a strong support. And then we get the biggest bounce of the day. Okay, so again, the only reason I go through this stuff is, first of all, to show you all these setups so that they're fresh in your mind when we get into the trading day. You should be able to start to see this stuff happen. Now, do they always work out? No, you got to be willing to take some risk and take some stop outs, but we know where these rotations are. So I'm trying to show you this stuff so it's fresh in your mind. The other reason is because I feel like if I didn't share this stuff, no one would believe me, that we literally capture the high and the low of the day to the tick in many instances for the most notable rotations of the day right off our levels. So it's just kind of proof that, this stuff really does work. If you rely on these levels and you start to get a good context, you're not just blindly buying and selling, but you're noticing some type of context. We're in a bearish market. We're breaking a level. We're coming back to it. We've got some divergence forming as we're testing it. There's some edge to that because you know that you have an area where you don't have to take a lot of risk, and you know that you potentially could catch another 10, 20, 40, 50, 100 point push from the scene of your entry. So right down again to the low of the day, which was our roadmap level nearly to the tick. And this was a beautiful counter signal trade. Peak below and bounce with a huge bullish divergence off that low. So great opportunity to get long. And then you have the pullback off the first roadmap level where you should have took some profit if you were long. And then once we kind of got through it, it wasn't perfect, but a little messy in here. We kind of held and held and held, got through it, came up, and then finally, this is so textbook, comes right back to the level, gives it a kiss, and then we get the push, right? And on that way up, in the biggest bounce of the day off our level, we then get beautiful pullbacks to get in long with bullish divergence. There's a pullback to the roadmap level. There's the rejection off the next roadmap level. And then we come up, we get the next rejection just around VWAP to the next roadmap level, holds FMA, comes all the way up for the next major pullback with bearish divergence, right off the roadmap level, even does it again and again, and then finally we come up. And then the high of the afternoon session, Jesus Christ, almost to the tick, I think 1 tick break with a bearish divergence off the roadmap level for the next pullback. And on that way down, again, it just kind of blows me away. You get the sell-off, it comes right back to it, kisses it, comes back through the VWAP, kisses it, holds VWAP with bearish divergence, great trade setup. And then they peak through, but only to come right back to the roadmap level, right? There's the FMA. And then we get some beautiful holds off the VWAP, bounce to the tick. Notice we sell off from the roadmap level to the tick, come down, and then we get the bounce to the tick off the next roadmap level, only to fail. So the bulls try to come back in. They just do not have enough strength to push it through VWAP, which is a very typical thing, and a clue that maybe the bears are going to remain in power here. Big bearish divergence on the final test, and then you get your next sell-off. So you could have jumped in on this, noticing all the weakness at the end of the day on Friday, and jumped in as this started to fail and got the whole sell-off at the end of the day. So on the way down, you can see we get the next bounce off the roadmap level, failing at the fast-moving average. Again, all textbook stuff. And then come up to the back end. Now here, there actually was a pretty good setup. So let me just mark that. Oops. This was a great short opportunity as we were failing and it was getting heavy, but it only gave you 67 to 63, or let's say 63 for maybe 3 or 4 points. So you didn't get much out of it, and then it came right back. And then that was it. The end of the day on Friday, which is probably, this is that extended trading hour. You don't want to be trading or getting close to that extended trading hour. The last day of the week got super messy. So you very well could have just chopped yourself up, gave all your money back at the end of the day on Friday when you should have walked away. I'm telling you, that last hour or two of the week, even if you do get some solid rotations off levels, it's a very, very risky place to be trading. So it got very, very messy. And then right at the end of the day, they came down to hold the back end of that roadmap level with some bearish, actually no divergence, but holds it and pulls back to finish the week out. Right, so that was how Friday went. Again, so many picture-perfect opportunities. If you learn how to manage your risk, you don't get emotionally overwhelmed when you take a couple losses, and you can execute these trades, you should be able to start to get some follow-through in your P&L. So now we get over here to last night's session where, once again, they pop up right to the roadmap level with a bearish divergence on the double top. And that's the high of the overnight session now. So you could have got short within the first 2 hours of the Globex last night off the roadmap level and captured nearly 30, 40 point pullback so far. Now on the way down here, what do we have? A bounce after we sell off. You even notice there's a bounce off the roadmap level, just doesn't get anywhere, but comes down lower. Gets our first major bounce after it started selling off, right off the major scalping level, and then rejects off the FMA for a beautiful short opportunity last night, right? Big bearish divergence off the FMA in a downtrend. You got yourself another over 10, maybe 15, 16, 17 points to the downside. We get a rotation off the roadmap level, just doesn't go anywhere, pops up into that major swing, which was the low of Friday, where we then get a bearish divergence and a pullback, right? There's the swing, there's VWAP, and then finally here, just in the last couple, or last night still, I'm sorry, tags the same area, fails out. We get another notable bounce right around the roadmap level to the tick, only to fail off FMA. Push down a little lower and notice where we're getting all this support in the market, not too surprising, right off that next roadmap level where, like I said, when we began the broadcast here, great opportunity to buy with a bullish divergence, giving yourself a nice nearly 20 point push, or 20 point push actually, right to where you would expect the bears to jump in if they didn't jump in off the 200 right here. So lots of great opportunities. Now we're at this double top, failing back through VWAP with I would have gotten short if I could. I wasn't watching the chart there. And now here we are nearly 15, 16 points down. Right. So plenty of opportunity, my friends. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames now and see what the charts have to say as we come into the new week.